This is Twit.
Microsoft claims that most Android phones infringe on multiple patents, but has never revealed what those patents are. Microsoft could make as much as $1 billion a year on Android-related patents and wants to keep them secret, but the Chinese government revealed a list of more than 300 Microsoft patents and applications, and these are for mobile phone technologies, including 127 patents that Microsoft says are implemented on Android. In other words, that Microsoft claims that Android infringes upon. Joe Mullin is the tech policy editor at Ars Technica and joins us now to talk about this story. Welcome, Joe.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Glad you're here. Now, why had Microsoft kept these patents a secret?
Well, there's a big advantage to not revealing exactly what patents you may need to ultimately use in a lawsuit. So strategically, Microsoft is trying to collect royalty payments on essentially every Android device in the world. And they're well on their way towards accomplishing that goal. So if they get into a legal negotiation, it's best for them to maybe show some patents or maybe even no patents and say, well, believe us, we have hundreds of patents that read on Android. And if you kind of want to confront us in the courtroom, you'll find out what those are then. Not sort of give someone a big list and then that gives their lawyers time to strategize or more space to disagree. Basically, it's just a good legal strategy to not sort of, if you have 300 cards, to not show any more than you need to until you actually go to court.
Now, of course, this seems to be similar to the Apple strategy. These infringing technologies are in Android, as I understand it, and yet Microsoft tends to extract licensing fees from the hardware makers. Is that right?
Yeah, I think that's correct. That's right. Microsoft has never sued Google directly, even though Google is, the maker of Android, of course.
Right.
And we should say allegedly infringing. I mean, it's a matter of until there's an actual adjudication, Microsoft would be making an allegation of infringement. And what we're seeing with these lists is, I don't even think this could quite be called an allegation of infringement. These are patents they say are implemented in Android. So it's kind of when they need to construct an infringement accusation, this is sort of the ammunition pile they would use.
Exactly. And, a lot of the hardware makers are paying Microsoft, so that's definitely not an infringement when they're paying for these technologies. And like you said, this hasn't been proved or required by any sort of court. This is essentially Microsoft approaching these companies, most of which it already has a relationship with at some level, because Microsoft, of course, makes Windows, and some of these same companies make hardware for Windows and other devices. And so, these companies kind of agree after these negotiations to pay a licensing fee rather than go to court. It seems to me that they have a little bit of an advantage in the negotiations, though, because Microsoft didn't want to reveal these patents. Now that they're out in the open, I would guess that Microsoft would have more sort of leeway to negotiate with these companies because now they don't mind going to court to fight these things if people refuse to pay the licensing fees.